you just all talk. We're not inside those walls. Remember that. I'll do what I want. And now one of you guys are going to stop me.
Hey, did your mother dress you this
No,
morning?
I don't have two different shoes on.
Did your mommy dress you?
These are two different shoes.
This is a horrible job.
I think you just antagonized as well.
I mean, have I cursed at you? Have I? Did I ask you if your mother dressed you today?
Whose duty is it to protect the correction officer?
The correctional officers here, they're in violation of the law, correct? By striking?
I have no.
Are you familiar with the law? Lieutenant, why would you support people that are breaking the law?
All right, guys, we are back. Yeah, we're going to be pulling Sean on in a second. He's going to introduce himself, tell us some updates of what he's got going on. And I got my crew pulling him in right now, so just give us a second. Hope everybody's doing good. Springtime is almost here, which means rally season is going to be kicking off soon. So all you Patriot groups, start getting your merch, start getting your flags, start getting all the stuff you need. Get your trucks outfitted.
We the People hats.
Yeah, We the People hats. You know, you can get them. You can get them a good deal on them over there at LongIslandAudit.com. You know, go see my buddy Sean. He's got the exclusive American-made hats. You know, because we support America and we're America first. So with that, we're going to be bringing him on momentarily. Working out a couple kinks. So how was your week?
It was all right so far.
It's good.
We're early on.
Nice, nice.
Mondays aren't really thrilling to me, but I had a good day today.
All right, we're ready to go. All right, let's bring him on. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend.
Sean Paul Reyes.
What's up, brother? Great to have you on, man.
Representing We the People.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we got audio.
I got you.
Oh, perfect. How you guys doing? Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
No problem. So I see you doing a lot of work, man. You are everywhere. There is no mountain you won't climb. So I know you have a lot to do with the Robert Brooks case, and I commend you for doing that because he definitely needs justice.
Yeah, that's God's work right there.
You know, and tell us about, you know, what developments are happening with that case and maybe some other stuff you're working on going forward.
Yeah, sure. So, I've been covering the Robert Brooks case from the very beginning. I thought the video was absolutely appalling. I think anybody with, you know, a heart would feel the same way. You know, they beat the life out of him. They tortured him, really. They tortured him, and then they tortured him to death. And there was no accountability. So I decided to cover it and use my platform to expose it and to bring accountability. And I was actually in the courtroom recording the day that all 6 of the correctional officers were arraigned on depraved murder charges. So I've been covering it in and out of the courtroom. I actually went to ask questions of the correctional officer. As Steve knows, I don't mind knocking on somebody's door to ask them some questions. It's not, you know, I think journalism needs to go back to holding people accountable, especially in government. We can't be scared because, you know, everybody wants to, let's make an appointment. Let's put it on the books. But, you know, they don't ever make the appointment. They don't ever get back to you.
They stonewall you.
Yeah, there's no transparency. So the way I look at it is like, if you want to stonewall me and you want to deny transparency and accountability, then I'm just going to knock on your door and we're going to ask you questions there. We're going to put a billboard truck and we're going to expose you and we're going to do what we need to do. You know, other than the Robert Brooks case that I've been working on a lot. You know, I'm suing in federal court the NYPD. They're super corrupt. They hate transparency over there. You know, I'm working on a Berwyn lawsuit, appealing that one. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of different things going on. My own town right now, the town of Brookhaven, is retaliating against me with $75,000. $75,000 in code violations. 36,000 of those are for a house I don't even own. So it's crazy to me.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's it's kind of par for the course, you know.
Yeah,
it's kind of par for the
Brookhaven,
course.
Right? Yeah.
You know, I was saying just last week that I'm still missing a piece of my ass. Hasn't grown back yet.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what we aim for, is to get all these corrupt officials that swore an oath to, you know, uphold our Constitution and our rights, and then you become public servants and you completely forget about it and you go into selfish greed, lining your pockets and not caring about the people. And thank God we got people like you and all the other auditors across the country. Everybody has different techniques. I found yours to be the most successful because you just come straight level.
And you're very, very articulate.
You never really
all
lose
respect,
your cool. So.
You know, Very,
good.
very
Yeah,
good.
see, when I first started, like, my kind of origin story is that, I used to watch a lot of First Amendment auditors. I'm obviously very big into freedom, and I noticed that they were, a little bit. I respect everybody's free speech. Let me make that clear right off the gate. But I was like, we want to bring over people that are, not really paying attention to this, and by, screaming and yelling and cursing and everything. I don't think that's a good way to bring the people from the middle over to our side, away from the corruption to accountability and freedom. So I decided to just go out there and record and speak to these government officials. And I've been arrested unlawfully. All charges have been dismissed unlawfully 10 times in the last 4 years since I started auditing the government. And it just goes to show you, and then it was crazy because when I was talking to one of the correctional officers, they said, "Oh, you've been arrested 10 times. It says a lot about you." And I told the officer, I said, it doesn't say a lot about me. It says a lot about our system. It says a lot about our government, that they are unlawfully arresting citizens who are engaging in constitutionally protected activities. When did honoring your oath become something that was secondary? We need to honor our oath. They need to honor their oath. They need to uphold the law, and they need to protect our constitutional rights.
Yeah, 100%. I feel the biggest problem is within law enforcement across the entire country is they lack training. I don't know if it's whether they're getting out
Well,
of.
Sean gives training.
No, I know he does, but I'm just saying throughout the country, there needs to be a mandatory training that you need to know like the back of your hand, which
The Constitution.
is our Constitution. You know what I mean?
Well,
And-
some cops do know the Constitution. Some cops are
No, but
are constitutionalists. But then you have tyrants.
Yeah, but the constitutionalist cops and the good cops need to take the bad apples and kick them the hell out of the
instead of
the bad apples controlling
covering
the good.
up for them.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I just put out a video today. Speaking of good cops, and bad apples, I put out a video today where this elderly woman, she was obviously she was being released from a county jail in Sacramento, California. And as they were releasing her, she was being, I think she had some mental health problems. She was just being kind of annoying, honestly. But the cop, he grabs her, pushes her outside, and then they're trying to say, "Oh, you assaulted us." She didn't do anything. It's a little old lady. And he goes to throw her out, and he pushes her out violently out the door, and she smacks her head on the pavement. And then he just turns around and laughs. And then all 7 officers that were there that just saw this woman just fly out of the correctional facility, literally, he flung her and hit her on the pavement, this old lady, and they all just walked away. They all just said, "Oh," and walked away.
It's
and
a
that's my
culture of
problem.
that.
Right. It is. You're right, Steve. It's culture because my problem is that I know that there are a lot of good law enforcement officers out there. I know there are because they reach out to me. They support me. Even correctional officers. There are a lot of whistleblowers in our government that want to do the right thing, that want to bring up, that want to expose the tyranny and corruption in our government. But there are a lot that that think that they're above the law. They think that the law does not apply to them. And that is something that needs to change. It's ridiculous. It really is.
Absolutely. I remember being at our ex-district attorney Tom Spoda's sentencing and the trial, and because he had been sat in my courtroom when I was going through it, and I went to his trial just so he saw my face. And I remember him, and a lot of the district attorney or federal prosecutors were saying, on recording, you're saying, is he going to toe the line? And that's exactly what we're talking about here, them towing the line. And if it's unethical, they shouldn't be willing to toe the line and protect. There shouldn't be a blue line. And they should understand that their allegiance is to God, and that has to come back.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Definitely does. And they got to start protecting the people, because the way it's set up now, it's that law enforcement, it protects the corrupt and powerful, and that needs to change. As you mentioned, Steve, I do law enforcement training. I've done it across the country where, I teach de-escalation. I think that's what sets me apart from other auditors and other activists out there, is because I like to think that I'm a critical thinker, logical. I know that this is not going to get solved by calling a cop a pig and and giving them a bird every single time you see them. But there needs to be accountability. You had brought up training. Training is one thing, but accountability is another. You're not the government wants to hold us accountable for our actions in our criminal acts, the law enforcement officers need to be held accountable as well. Because if you see somebody going to prison or going to jail for something, and then you're like, well, maybe I won't do that. Maybe I won't violate. Maybe I won't break his camera. Maybe I won't, unlawfully arrest the next citizen. But all too well, all the time it just happens where they just get away with it. They investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing, and that needs to change.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I remember our last district attorney, Tim Sini, didn't get the police union nomination until he threw out 83 cases of police misconduct that was supposed to be getting investigated. After throwing out the 83 claims of police misconduct, he got the police union nomination. And once you get the police union nomination, it's like you're virtually elected.
Right.
You know?
Right. The police unions, especially, here on Long Island, they are very powerful entities. They have a bunch of money where they can just throw it at everything. I'm thinking about running for town supervisor. We will see how that plays out. But, it's the town of Crookhaven. I've been here, town of Brookhaven, my whole life, and I was born and raised here. And I wanted to see better. I don't like the fact that business owners are coming up to me saying that if I don't use the right contractor, if I don't use the contractor who's friends with the expediter, who's friends with the building department, then they're going to look at every little detail. But if you use one of their friends and you use somebody that they're associated with, they just, push it through, no problem. That needs to stop. There's a lot of retaliation when it comes to code enforcement, a lot of selective enforcement, and that needs to change. We need to do better.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot of people are very happy with the change in administration between the DA and the county executive. I made a speech regarding the evictions taking so long that we were being extorted by the squatters, and I saw a change. I saw a change with the red light cameras, and also regarding the school bus cameras. We know that the old district attorney and the old Malone administration amended the contract so that it couldn't be broken without a $100 million fine or something like that to be imposed upon us, the taxpayers. And the district attorney and the old administration, the Malone administration, got jobs with the school bus camera company. So this is more corruption. And so on their way out, they had lost the election, amended the contract, and then got jobs, patronage jobs, for doing the wrong thing on our behalf. They all got rewarded jobs. Yeah. So this is, got to be exposed. It needs to be exposed. And there's more. It's never going to end, but with the work that you're doing, it's helping and it's keeping people honest. And I noticed that when you encounter law enforcement, you always start out like, "Hi, how you doing, officer?" You set the tone to be friendly, polite, and cordial. And a lot of the auditors don't do that.
Right. And it's because I look at them as just a regular person, right? They're here. They have a job to do. I respect law and order. I want law and order in our country. It's very important. So I respect that job, but it needs to be done right. And I respect anybody I come in contact with. But, the minute that you prove yourself to be a tyrant, tyranny has no place in this country, and we need to resist it at every chance that we get. That's why I have this hoodie right here, Resist Tyranny.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's great. So, yeah, everybody should definitely check out Sean's online store. And, Sean, you want to shout out to the store?
Yeah, Long Island Audit.store. You can get the We the People hat, Resist Tyranny hoodies, a bunch of other cool stuff over there, good designs. I got to send you guys some stuff.
Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Why don't you go into the legal defense? Attorney Shield.
So, Attorney Shield, right. So me and my partners, I partner with another activist, an independent journalist, Lackluster. He's a huge channel here on YouTube. He covers a lot of government corruption, big two-way supporter. And we started a company called Attorney Shield, where we figured that we want to de-escalate situations. I'm tired of just reporting on these injustices that are happening across the country, where people's rights are being violated. So we wanted to make an app, and we did. We made an app where you can hit the button, and in 30 seconds or less, you have an attorney right there to help de-escalate situation, inform you of your rights. How many videos have you guys seen where where an officer says, "Hey, step out of the vehicle," and then the person's like, "I don't have to step out of the vehicle," and then it ends with the window being broken and then being hauled to jail all over a broken taillight.
Yep. Stop resisting.
To me, that's tyranny. He had a broken taillight. But the law is, unfortunately, Pennsylvania v. Mims, you have to step out of the vehicle for officer safety. So if you don't, you will be charged with obstruction. You're going to have your window broken. You're going to be brought to jail, all because you didn't understand the law. to me, it makes sense that why would I need to step out of the vehicle for? Just write me my ticket for the broken taillight and move on. But the law is the law, and we could try and change that, and I've been trying to do that through federal lawsuits. But people need to understand that, because I don't want anybody to go to jail. I don't want anybody to have their rights violated or spend the night in jail because of their lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I never knew that you had to step out of the car.
Right, exactly. So, when an officer tells you, and that's throughout the whole country, when an officer says, hey, I need you to step out of the vehicle, whether you're a passenger, whether you are in the back seat, front seat, doesn't matter. The officer has full control over whether you're in that car or out of it. And if he tells you to step out, you need to step out. And it's just, it was decided in a case, Supreme Court case, Pennsylvania v. Mims, where they decided that for officer safety, they're allowed to remove you from the vehicle. Again, you don't have to answer any questions, and that's why it's good to have the attorney with you in 30 seconds or less. But not only does it give you an attorney, so many people email me and they say, hey, Sean, my rights were just violated by this tyrant cop and XYZ. And I said, well, where's the footage? And they're like, well, I wasn't recording. Well, I mean, what do you want me to do about it? So while the attorney is on the app, it's recording and sending that recording to the cloud. So it's safe. The officer can't turn off your phone without a security pin. Your footage is safe in our secure cloud server. And it lets say you get pulled over, you hit the button, the attorney's there. It sends a notification to your significant other, whoever your emergency contact is. And then they let you know where exactly you're at, what's going on. Everything's okay.
That's genius.
And we think it's going to save a lot of people's lives, and not only save people's lives, but save people's lives most importantly, but also just keep people out of going to jail, and keep, at the same time, keeping officers safe. Because I want, as much as I talk about, I think it's BS when we talk about officer safety in certain contexts, because I don't think officer safety should nullify our constitutional rights and our liberties and our freedoms. I don't think that is something that we can have officer safety, but keep my freedoms intact and keep my liberty and everything that I have, my constitutional rights intact. They don't need to supersede each other and overlap.
Sure.
But it's important, because now there's some accountability where the officer is going to feel safer, because there's a lawyer on the phone. This person's some gangbanger's not going to have the attorney on the phone. Like somebody's going to want to do harm to them. They're not going to want to record that. It's being recorded. So, I think it's going to help everybody involved. And that's what I really want. I want, law enforcement to do their job, get the bad guys off the street, do what they need to do, enforce the law. But I also want them to respect our constitutional rights, especially on traffic stops. I'm more of like a libertarian kind of guy where, these little like brake light things and things of that nature, it just really, I don't think it's necessary, only because you could just let them know. Like you can say, hey, brake light,
just give them a warning,
Yeah. You don't need to, not everything needs to be monetized to where the government's taking a lot of money, especially as you guys know here on Long Island, they take enough of it between property taxes and everything else. So, but that's
probably
the way
pay some of the highest rates just to register our vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, I know somebody contacted me yesterday and told me that their father, who's in late 70s and a Vietnam veteran, went to the DMV because he noticed that was the same day yesterday or a couple days ago that his vehicle registration was expiring. He went to DMV. They said, we can't do it for you. You need an appointment. And he said, but I don't have a phone. I don't have a computer.
Ridiculous.
I'm an old school veteran, and I don't. When his wife passed away, and he's battling prostate cancer, and he made us think. He made us think, and they gave him a field arrest ticket. So I told him I'll do what I can to help him out, but that was not necessary. They didn't need to monetize a bad situation. And that's exactly what my opinion is that they did. Now he has to hire a criminal defense attorney and pay fines over them not wanting to give him the respect of allowing him to renew his own registration.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But, my personal opinion is
any cop
would have let him go for that. They'd say, just get it taken care of.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, he gets locked up for just making us think down at DMV that he needed an appointment, which is actually post-COVID.
Right. But apparently they're leaving a lot of the COVID policies that restricted our rights in place in order to restrict our access to them. Yep. What this is really about, it's not about, it was never about COVID. It was about restricting the public's right, the public's access to their elected officials and to the government as a whole. Mm-hmm. It's now, when you go into the town hall of Huntington, you can't go anywhere. It's all blocked off. There's, nothing ever since COVID. You can't go upstairs to the offices that you pay for. You can't, go into and walk around and do anything. You have to get an appointment. You need to, even at the DMV. That's why when I go to the DMVs and I'm recording and I'm asking these questions, they're like, oh, you can't be in here without an appointment. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You need an appointment. And people like the gentleman, the veteran that you're talking about, they're getting left behind because, again, they're like, oh, just make an appointment online. But why I go in there and I don't make appointments at these places is people are like, why don't just make an appointment? It's not about making an appointment. Yes, I can make an appointment easily, but this is exactly why I do what I do for people like that gentleman who has no idea how to set up an appointment on his phone, on computer, on anything, and they're getting left behind and they're getting left out from being able to engage. I mean, he was just going there to pay the money, right? I mean,
He was just going there to give the money.
Yeah.
Right. You can't even do that.
Nope.
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And he said one of the police officers was totally cool, just wanted to de-escalate and iron it all out. The other cops saw an opportunity to lock him up. And it wasn't really locking him up, but it was because it's a field arrest ticket. It's the same as an arrest. And now he's like caught in the system. And this is a guy that served our country.
Right. And it's ridiculous. And at the end of the day, it's really absurd because officers, when it's minor things like this, law enforcement officers across the country have discretion. So they don't have to charge you. Right. They don't, I'm just doing my job. Your job allows you to have discretion. So when you're dealing with an older gentleman who's a veteran who fought for our country,
and fighting cancer, and he's fighting cancer, and he lost his wife.
Cancer, right. And he's going through it. It's a technicality. I spoke to an officer the other day who told me, he's like, I quit. He's a former officer. He's like, I quit because I pulled over this guy. I knew he didn't have insurance. I've pulled him over for not having insurance before. And I pulled him over again. I said, hey, what's going on with the insurance? And he's like, hey, listen, I'm barely surviving right now. Like I can barely pay my rent. I can barely, get some food. And he ended up letting him go. He's like, he was supposed to arrest him for driving with suspended, driving with his license was suspended because he didn't have insurance. That's what it was. So he's supposed to arrest him for driving on a suspended license. He ended up letting him go. He got in trouble for that because he felt bad. He said, you know what? This person has no gas to cook his food, has nothing. And, because he didn't have insurance on his vehicle, now his license is suspended. Now he's going to get caught in the system. It just compounds itself over and over again to where you're just being violated by the criminal justice system.
Yeah. Well, I look at it as a privilege.
I look
at it as a privilege to be able to help him.
We got about 30 seconds till 20 seconds till we got to run into the next guest. But if you want to stay on, Sean,
can we keep Sean
more
on?
than welcome, and you can
Sure.
stay in.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem.
All right. So I got a guest named Vem Miller. He's been all over the headline news. They tried to dub this guy the third Trump assassin. There's a whole shady story that went on behind it. Let's bring in Vem. What's up, my friend? Can you hear me? He should be in a second.
Do we have audio on Vem?
I think you got me on, James. I think you brought Derek in by mistake.
There should be one more guy on the line. Holding in there. Should have two guys on hold. Yeah, he's in. Vem's in. He just needs to be pulled on screen. So. I see somebody. Here we go.
Hey, guys.
Nice.
What's up, brother?
How you doing? Could you hear me? Or
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm in the halls of Congress right now because we're out here actually covering the State of the Union with my company. We do content at the America Happens Network. So I'm glad the connection is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Man.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Sorry that you had to go through that tyrant sheriff trying to use you to become governor.
I appreciate you guys, man. Even today, it's like I have this dude be part of our community just bombing my, Twitter, saying the same lies. 5 months later, he's like, oh, you tried to bring guns into a Trump rally, and nothing of the kind happened. It's like I never did any of that.
Well, it's a good thing that you recorded the interaction.
I know, man. I know that really, it would have been his word against mine. And you know how people are, even with the evidence, I'm still having a fight. Just sometimes a battle with people that, refuse to acknowledge the truth. They want to, they want to victim blame, and it's unfortunately part of this. A lot of people just like to victim blame. I mean, we've heard that in history how, people just are not sometimes wanting to blame the people that are actually the bad guys. But, Bianco lied about pretty much everything. I wasn't trying to enter no rally with guns. I wasn't carrying fake IDs. I'm not a sovereign citizen, which, on its surface doesn't make sense because sovereign citizens mean that you're anti-government. And I actually ran for office 2 years ago, and I've been supporting government candidates since 2000. So, I appreciate guys like you that are willing to tell the true story and clean up this nonsense for me and my family.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure, our honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve respect. They just tried to spin your interaction into a political smoke screen to try and steal an office that he's probably perfect for.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. We're working very hard though, because, I'm from California. I grew up in LA. It's very sad what's happened in that state. And so the fortunate part about this,
Oh, we're having a technical glitch here. Try to get close to the Wi-Fi, Vem.
There we go.
What's up?
Now you broke up for a second. You're back now.
Oh, okay. So you had a rally with 50,000 people, and he chose me, man. And look, if it was one of those other 50,000 people, you guys wouldn't even hear about it. The person's life would have been destroyed. God knows what would have happened to that person. I mean, we saw what Bianco tried to do a couple of days after by sending a SWAT team to my parents' house, thinking I'm there. And so, in a way, it was fortunate that it happened to me because at least I have the wherewithal to fight back to a certain degree. And I apologize about the noise in here. I know that there's a guy passing by me right now with a big garbage thing. But no, the point I'm trying to make is, it was almost a blessing that this happened to me because now we can expose him. We have an opportunity of actually getting the.
Well, I think that you were singled out for a reason. I think it was God's will because other people would have fallen prey to that political smokescreen and ended up in jail or maybe even dead when they had the SWAT team run up on their family's house. But it was God's will, and that's why it's going to expose this tyrant, and he'll never be elected. Everyone's going to know. I hope that you've had interaction with President Trump over this.
Hello?
What happened?
Vem, you got us?
Yeah. Was I just?
Have you had any interactions with President Trump over the incident?
No.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, you're chopping up again.
Have you had any interactions with President Trump over this incident?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you spoken to President Trump at all?
Well, I've been through intermediate sense. In fact, day after this whole thing, he actually said, "Hey, I don't think they got that one right." I don't know if you guys noticed, but the first video announcement he made when he became president was about the reciprocity laws between states. And that seemed to be somewhat aimed at this situation because what happened was, I was a law-abiding gun owner by the Constitution. And so, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just, but California has some weird laws that are unconstitutional, right? So that obviously needs to be addressed. And that seemed to be what Trump was addressing the minute he got into office. And I think I'm good with the administration. And oh, by the way, I was at Mar-a-Lago 2 weeks ago with full security clearance within 10 feet away from Donald Trump, actually. Like he passed right by me and waved at me. So, in terms of the administration, I have no issues with them. They know that this was nonsense. I'm friends with a lot of people that are connected to the administration that knew it was nonsense. And, in terms of the administration, it's all good. It's just a matter of now holding Chad Bianco accountable for the nonsense that he did to me and my family.
Yeah. Absolutely. He should be charged with defamation amongst other things. You know?
Yeah,
there's no way
it's actually unlawful. It's actually unlawful to report false information to the FBI. And, he did that. And I would argue that what he did was, he terrorized us, that's for sure, by sending a SWAT team to my parents' house after the FBI and Secret Service said that this was all nonsense. nonetheless, he sent the SWAT team with false information saying that I had guns, which he knew was untrue. And when you do stuff like that, you're basically putting a target on somebody's back. So not only did we have to deal with the false information terrorized by his police. So what is that? Is that an act of domestic terrorism? Is that an act of attempted murder? All questions that I think need to be answered because when you give false information to the LBMPD and you say somebody's armed, somebody's crazy, somebody's a lunatic, 12 police officers showed up hot and heavy to my parents' home thinking that I was there. Luckily, I have friends that told me to hide out, so I was in hiding. But had I been there, I might not be here talking to you guys right now.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
Sheriff thought that, he could make a name for himself off of character assassination. And when that didn't work, it seemed like he wanted to off me.
Hey, do I got a picture of that sheriff we could pull up real quick so we can shed some light on this scumbag? I think I got a picture in the archive. Let's put him up on screen. Somewhere.
Yeah, he needs to be locked up for what he did.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He needs to be locked up. That deserves 5 years in prison.
Let's find good old Chad. We'll pull Chad on the screen. This guy's a real scumbag. Yeah. There he is. That's the face of...
Straight tyranny right there. It's a tyrant, a government tyrant. Puts people's lives at risk to better his political possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guys.
We're going to get it out there.
I'm looking forward to coming and hanging out with you guys at the America First Warehouse, man. I've heard a lot about you guys. We have a lot of mutual friends, and I love what you guys are doing out there, man. Really.
Yeah, man. We're hoping we get Donald Trump here one day. This is the most patriotic venue in all the land.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I don't know if I think I told you guys on the phone. So I worked in Ronkonkoma for a while, and that's where he got the interior of his plane design. So I think there's good reason to drag him out there one of these days and have him visit the American First Warehouse.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Ronkonkoma?
I was in television for most of my career, and I created a TV show called Superfly, which was basically Pimp Your Plane. And I met this guy out there in Ronkonkoma that runs a place called International Jet Interior, which actually did the interior design of Donald Trump's plane back in, I don't know if it was probably an older plane because he seems to have gotten a new one, but this was back in 2012 is when he was getting the interior of his airplane design.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, yeah, man. We'd love to hang out with you over here. This is the best place around.
Yep.
It's the most patriotic venue, and it's all good people. We're just hoping hopefully one day get a visit from the president.
Yeah, man.
So, Vem, it would be our pleasure to hang out with you.
That'll be awesome, bro. And thank you for giving me their time. Thank you for allowing me to tell my story to your audience. And for the viewers out there, on my X account, there's a video pinned to my profile. It's 12 minutes of a feature-length documentary that I'm doing on the third assassin topic with my business partner, Mindy Robinson. And, it's, worth checking out because it'll show you really
I take it you've been on Pete Santilli's show?
I have 3 times now about this topic.
All right,
Pete's been a big supporter. Alex Jones, Roger Stone. I mean, I've been blessed. That's in that 12-minute piece. You see me getting a little emotional because I really wasn't expecting all these freedom folks to come to my rescue. And frankly, if it wasn't for people like you guys willing to give me the airtime, I wouldn't even be able to get the real story out. So there's a lot of beautiful things that happen here. Amongst all the traumatic shit. But the beautiful stuff is that, our movement, the good guys really, held strong and they told the truth and really got me out of a very bad mess,
Well, I'll tell you, I saw all the character references that you had, and everyone says that you're a great dude. So we wanted to give you that respect, And another thing is, like I said, you were chosen by God to be the one to expose that tyrant piece of crap. I hope he gets it.
Yeah.
Put lives at risk.
Much luck to you guys.
He clearly put lives at risk to better his own political possibilities.
Yep.
So he should lose his job, and he should absolutely be charged with some sort of malfeasance crime or some kind of crime. I don't know exactly what the charge would be, but he deserves
your gun and badge and go get
your
divorce.
They should take his pension.
Yeah.
He needs the chain gang. That's the type of guy that needs to be put on a chain gang.
Absolutely. So where could people go to support you? Do you have a website where people could send in donations or anything like that?
Yeah. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you for bringing that up. So if you go to AmericaHappens.com, we have a Give, Send, Go link where you could donate. Actually, if you go to Give, Send, Go and just look for the America Happens Network, we're producing content that exposes these guys, which is the irony of all this, which is that out of the 50,000 people that rolled up, this Bianco guy pulled out, basically tried to mess with the guy that actually creates documentaries, which I have for many years, that expose scumbags like Bianco. So any funds that people donate to AmericaHappens.com or the America Happens Network, which you can find on Give, Send, Go, will go to making great documentaries. You'll see a bunch of stuff on our website where this is the sort of thing we expose, and definitely my X account at Not Ben Miller for people to check out, where I post daily.
Well, in my personal opinion, you need someone like Sean Paul Reyes out there because he will take the fight right to that guy's front door with his billboard truck, pound on his door, and ask him for a comment on what he has to say about that video. How you disclosed what you had. You offered for them to take your firearms. If it wasn't for you disclosing it, they would have never even knew you had firearms.
Exactly.
So you need someone like Sean Paul Reyes to take the fight right to them, like he does over here.
Yeah.
And Sean gets around.
I would love to be connected with him. Please connect us because that's the kind of dude I want to. Not only for Bianco, by the way, because we want to go after all these scumbags. So it'd be nice to be connected with somebody like that, just for future reference as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we will have to get Sean's permission for that. I don't think it should be too much of a problem, and we will reach out to you with that connection.
Hell yeah, man. So I think we're gonna cut this one off. I'll bring you on next week if you want to give us an update. Just reach out to me. Let me know what more information you got and anything else you want to get out, and I'll get you on the show again.
My boy Vem.
Thank you, and
yeah, we appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man, we definitely appreciate you. When you get a chance, Vem, Google me. I am the Red Light Robin Hood.
Awesome, I will.
Yeah. So with that, I'll be in touch with you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you. We'll be here with you with this fight, and
everyone says you're a patriot and a good dude, and there was 0% chance that you were a considered assassin. 0%. Everyone said good things. I listened to those testimonials.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
So
Have a great day.
We'll talk to you soon, Van. Thanks again.
All right, take care. Talk soon.
Thanks, man. All right, guys. So our next guest we're bringing in Derek Storms.
Do we still have Sean Paul Reyes?
Yeah, he's still on.
All right, awesome. Can we bring him on the screen with us?
So we have Derek. We need Derek Storms. He is the chief counsel to the J6 Association to give us updates, and I believe he has Josh with him too. But we'll see. So.
Yeah, we got some good updates for you guys, and this actually ties in perfectly with the conversation you guys were having, where we're advocating right now for some legislation, actually two things. One, to make it easier to sue, because as you know, a lot of our J6ers want to sue for their constitutional violations that were infringed on them. The problem is the venue statute. Because the government violated their rights in DC, you got to sue in DC and deal with these swamp creature judges. So we're going to propose some legislation to try to change the venue law that a plaintiff can sue in their home state of residence. So if you live in Florida, you can sue in a federal court, which will take these cases out of these swamp creatures' hands. I just want to show you this because you brought up the Zelensky thing. One of our J6ers is an artist, and he drew this. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hang on.
We can't see it.
Hold on. Yeah, it's starting to come in.
Shit, yeah.
Zelensky getting a nice spanking.
Why don't you text one of us the
Zelensky
picture?
getting a spanking.
That's great. That is great.
I want to watch the video with Zelensky in heels.
Oh, my God. You guys see those? Zelensky's dancing around in heels and makeup?
Oh, it's disgusting. The
Oh,
pole.
my Lord.
I heard he had the audacity to call the vice president a bitch.
That's what I heard.
He did.
Surprised the vice president didn't kick his ass.
Yeah,
He's throwing the knives. He's throwing the knives at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
talk about the biggest diplomatic blunder in modern history.
there he is. What's up, Josh? How are you, man?
Hey, gentlemen, you got my brother Vem in there. That was good to see his face.
Yeah, man.
He's a good
Same
friend
here.
of mine as well. And zero
Much
chance that
respect.
guy did anything.
Much respect to
Zero
both of you
chance.
guys. If you could change the venue to Florida, that would be ideal.
It would. It would. Yeah. I mean, especially with our veteran population and our program down in Homestead, we're bringing in J6ers. They're changing their lives, getting set up again. I mean, for a lot of these guys, they left a DC gulag or a Kentucky for that matter. And where are they going to go back to? Because home's not the same anymore. So instead, they're going back to an area where they're being barely tolerated. So with us, we want to pull them in where they're celebrated and help them get back on their feet again. And at the same time, what we're talking about, restitution or making them whole, what we say sozo, making them whole again is so important. And this really ties to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. These guys need all the support they can get. And, after being trashed for all these years with the media and them coming out and seeing that they do have genuine support from the Patriots across the nation,
They need to be like Kyle Rittenhouse, compensated.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's so difficult to go through these stories. I work with veterans every day that are coming from the street and outreach, 4 hours a day, help them to transition, get on their feet again, move into our apartment complex, and then really in a holistic way be brought to the next level. And the same thing is with our J6 Patriot partners. I mean, these are like brothers in arms to us, right? Like them and others. Yeah, they're not exactly served with a DD-214, but very similar to those who are hostages from Iran, for instance, very much prisoners of war, of political warfare that we've gone through. It's very much a blend for us, like Vietnam veterans coming home, POW, MIA, and then those released by Iran that were themselves hostages. I mean, that's how we felt, right? I mean, when I was going through the DC Gulag and engaging there, I was like, this is bizarro world. This is totally upside down. All I was doing, guys, was asking if every legal vote was being counted on the streets of Philadelphia, my city, city of Philly, as a Philly kid. And so I was just having a cheesesteak that night, and I'm outside on live saying, hey, is every vote being counted legally? And I get swatted with 50 of Philly's finest, all from these lies by the feds and the district attorney Krasser. Talk about a dirtbag. This guy called me everything under the sun to defame my company, my family, my business, my life, and to destroy us. I mean, that's what they're.
And let me just jump in 1 second. James, you guys got to hear this because Josh didn't get a pardon, and the reason was he was in Philly. They got him on a gun charge. He didn't do anything. I mean, he had the Hummer with, the QAnon sticker on the back. And I don't know what, he had some guns in there, all registered to him. But the problem was it was a state charge. So the Trump's pardon only applied to the federal convictions. So we need to put pressure on the Philly governor to pardon these guys. So we gotta make phone calls. I think the ticket might be through Senator Fetterman, because as his brain is getting restored, he's slowly coming towards the red.
Yep.
There's
a little glimmer of hope in his eyes.
What about Mike McCaffrey?
More every day.
What about Mike McCaffrey?
Yes, any and all support would be amazing.
Yeah, Mike
Because
McCaffrey, I think, got Trump's nomination, or right before the election. I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah.
I think his name was Mike
he-
McCaffrey, David McCaffrey, in Pennsylvania, senator.
They never would have asked if I have a concealed carry if it wasn't for Stop the Steal environment and engagement. The only reason this was happening was because we were asking the questions if every legal vote is being counted in Philadelphia, which we all know is where they were stuffing the ballots, and it's coming out more and more.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Yeah,
and we had the goods
absolutely.
on them. We knew. We had the photographs. We had the people. We knew what was going on. We were handing it over to Rudy Giuliani and Corey Lewandowski the next morning, and they just didn't want Tony or I on the board anymore to really bring to light everything that they were doing in the dark. I mean, 2 o'clock in the morning. Come on, man. Pennsylvania was
big
one.
setup.
Yeah.
That's probably why they ushered in COVID in the first place. One was the depopulation agenda. Another one was to make the mail-in ballots such a big fraud that you couldn't be tracked. And that's why you had ballots falling out of UPS trucks and
18-wheelers.
bathroom plumbing
Out of
lines.
Bethpage.
break in in the
18-wheelers,
middle of the
man.
night.
Didn't an
18-wheelers.
18-wheeler leave from Bethpage to Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Filled with
That's
ballots.
the one and that's the one that they were afraid we were going to stop
Yep.
and then expose live
Yeah,
that we were going to
exactly.
show what they had going on. And
Yeah, exactly.
we received the tip.
They
which
tried
passed
to
to
do it
Sean
this time.
Hannity.
The entire time that we were going through this election cycle, the last 4 years with Joe Biden, it was Omicron, then it was Delta, then it was bird flu, then it was monkeypox, then they just kept going down the line with disease after disease after disease. But the good thing is the American public is like, you know what? Take your disease and go shove them up your keister.
Yeah, we're done with the
That's
mail-in
right.
voting.
Yeah, that's why they didn't get a chance to cheat, but
Yeah.
it's good.
And that's why they came after all of us J6 veterans. That's why there's 30% of those that were thrown in the gulags are vets. And they stood up for what's right as a national security, quite frankly, sentinel that care for our country and care for our rights. They were the ones who have the courage to stand up and say, hey, what's going on here, folks? Like just asking the simple questions. There are so many veterans that were part of the recounting process. So that's why they silenced me for the past 4 years. They didn't
So how
want the
long were
truth
you in
to come
jail
out
for?
This whole time.
How long were
21
you in for?
days in isolation in Philadelphia.
How long?
And then my family, 21 days.
In isolation.
21 days of total isolation. And then 4 other times they pulled me back trying to pull my bail. They didn't want me to see the light of day because they didn't want the truth. They said no social media, no rallies. And even still, despite all that, we did our Take Our Border Back tour. We reached 90 million people through all of that. The documentary still came out. So despite all that they were coming after us with, we still were overcoming and getting the message out. I appreciate you guys communicating and wanting to talk about our J6 vets and the community and what we're doing right now to help restore their benefits, get them back on their feet again. They need help, guys. I mean, we've got so many veterans. There's about 50 right now that we want to personally bring into our facility here in Richmond, as well as in Homestead, Florida, help them get on their feet again and help them to get back to their lives. That's just what they want to get done.
They just want their lives back.
Restoring. They just want their lives back, guys.
Yeah.
And it takes years. I mean, it takes years. And they need help now. It's not like, oh, well, we fought through, we got them out, we got them free, but now we got to get them back on their feet again. And it takes, we got to pay bills, right? You got to take the lights on. You got to pay the rent. This is important right now. And our guys are struggling. They're asking, what am I going to do with myself? When is this going to start happening? Asking the questions. And I just want to encourage them, guys, please reach out to us. We're here for you. Don't give in to the PTSI. Don't give in to the trauma. There is a chance for you. God saved us. He spared us from the fowler's snare. He lifted us up. It's time for us to soar, guys. And we got to soar together.
Yeah, absolutely.
All glory be to God.
Hell yeah.
Amen, brother.
And I think a main reason why they attacked the veterans so bad is because they know a majority of the veterans, they served honorably, right? They made rank. They were in control of platoons and squadrons. And these are the leaders of society that they knew if they didn't throw them behind bars, they were going to rise up and then you guys would have an army behind you. And they're scared because you're trained, you're smart, you're equipped, and you guys are well connected throughout the entire country. We have 3%ers, we have Oath Keepers, we have all the militia groups in between. And with that web tied together, we're basically unstoppable. And especially with our Second Amendment backing us up.
Remember,
Here
brother,
in
it's
Suffolk,
only
we have a
6
veteran court where they actually treat veterans with more leniency.
Yeah.
Yes. I work with vet corps throughout the country, actually, helping their veterans. They come to our Safe Haven program. We help them to get into the VA because a lot of them, quite frankly, have never worked with the VA ever. They've never gone in for any earned benefits to get the help that they need. And so we work with the psychologists, psychiatrists, even the plaintiffs, which are the prosecutors, work with us. They want to continue because they know our program is holistic and we help the veterans get out of that shame and discouragement from making a mistake, man. I mean, any guys, when you have this kind of warrior mentality, are pushed to the brink and the limits, something happens, they break. And so we want to help them to overcome that trauma, to be able to deal with whatever those triggers are, to say, hey, this is an issue for me, and I'm going to resolve that. I mean, they're alpha fighter warriors that are being thrown to the wolves and out to the sea of forgetfulness constantly. And that's why we need to pull them into community and help them get on their feet again. And that's what Vet First policies are all about.
Exactly. And where could people go to support you guys, to send donations, to keep the funds coming in so we can keep this mission going?
Yes, thank you, brother. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit on your Six Foundation. You can go to oy6.org, or you can go to j6vets.org, where that ties in our organization, our association. And we're going to be having shirts like this made by Tony LaMotta, the great graphic artist that he is. And you're going to see that one of Zelensky getting spanked here soon enough. And you can be able to get there. It's all vet made, guys. That means veteran hands, U.S. made. We're not going this stuff from overseas and paying tariffs. We're doing this here in America, and it's America first, right here, brother. Ultra MAGA all the way.
That's right. That's right, man. So that's good, man. So Derek, you got anything you want to plug before we wrap things up?
Just the final thing. I mean, I'm working on some heavy hitting legislation right now. I probably don't have time to get into it, but it's called Key Tom legislation. You guys were talking about the nonsense with Stacey Abrams, the $2 billion.
Yep.
What this Key Tom legislation, actually Abraham Lincoln brought it in during the Civil War, but it allows private citizens to sue on behalf of the government when they find out about fraud. So, and then you get a cut. Like you can get between 15 to 20%. I'm drafting some legislation right now that I want to send up when we go down to DC, and I want to expand that to incentivize MAGA whistleblowers to report on social media bias, report on DEI in the workplace, report on illegal affirmative actions like for students in schools. Because a lot of, Trump changed these policies, and you just see these universities, they're like, okay, we'll change it. They're advising their faculty don't do anything. So really the government doesn't know. The only time to catch these people is insiders have to report on it. And that's what I'm working on right now. It is a law in the books. It's called the Key Tom False Claims Act. And I just want to expand that to cover other claims. So that's kind of the big project I'm working on legislatively. And of course, with our veterans, we're opening the Vet Center in Richmond. I'm probably going to go down there this weekend, meet up with the guys, do some karate. I don't know if you know, Josh is a badass in karate, and we got some grandmasters in the crew that are going to work with us and just have some fun in Richmond, shoot some guns.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Sounds like a good time.
So were all the charges still pending, or?
Yeah.
State charges are still pending. Yeah.
So for me, I beat the election interference charges, which were the ones where they were trying to put me away for 27 years on. Totally acquitted from those. But they got me because I had a sidearm, which they cleared me twice by investigation. But the good old District Attorney Krasner back in October said, Trump, you said you're Proud Boys or unregistered poll watchers. I got something for them. So he said, he even told the arresting officer who cleared me twice, I've got no reason to keep Macias. He said, take his sidearm. I've got something for him. And he made up these garbage charges of a permit, and which a misdemeanor in Philadelphia, gun charge, immediately turns into a felony like they did to Trump in New York. So they made me with a misdemeanor a felon.
That's
took
crazy.
away my guns.
Absolutely.
So what we got to do?
40 years of shooting, gentlemen. I've been shooting since I was 6 years old. They do this to me. It's ridiculous.
What we got to do, James, we got to get a campaign. Everybody's got to call up Krasner, Fetterman, everybody. We're going to put together a campaign. We're going to need everybody collaborating, and guys like Josh that are honest, that were attacked by these tyrants that through a loophole Trump couldn't pardon them. We need to put pressure on these scumbag governors to pardon.
That's right.
So,
well, I think we're out of time for today. I got to wrap it up. But gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on. I look forward to talking to you in the future, and we'll get some more updates going.
Much
to see you,
respect.
James.
Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you. And God bless.
Fight. Bye-bye.
All right.
Sean, you still out there?
No, he's gone. Okay. All right, guys. And with that, we are wrapping up podcast number 20. Thank you for tuning in. James Justice, Stephen Ruth.
America First Warehouse.
Peace.
America first. Ooh.